Hello and welcome to the Fossil Huntress podcast. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today on the show, I thought I would take you to the Green River Formation. So some beautiful Eocene outcrops, but in the United States of America, the USA. So these beautiful 50 million year old lake bed sites outcrop in Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado. So not quite central USA, a little off to the west. So we're above Arizona and New Mexico. We're just east of Nevada, just south of Montana and Idaho, and just west of Nebraska and Kansas. So this is a beautiful part of the world, and I thought it mirrors in many ways the outcrops at Maccabee, and we just talked about those. So I thought we could explore some of these beautiful sites together. The Green River Formation has amazing outcrops, and there's an area known as Fossil Lake that has two distinct zones of very fine-grained lime muds, and they're particularly good at preserving complete and amazing detail. So this is an Eocene Lagerstatt, a place where we find rare and unusual preservation. And you've likely seen fossil fish from the Green River if you've ever gone to a store or online on Etsy. Diplomystus is one of the most common fish from here, and we see them, they're common enough that I've seen people not paper their walls with them, but I've seen them take those blocks and do sort of a backsplash in their kitchen. So they're beautiful, they're really clean and clear. You can see all the fine details on the ribbing, so they're a nice creamy orangey matrix with a browny fossil outline of the fish, so they're very pretty. And the fossil beds that we find in the Green River span about 5 million years. So they're Eocene, similar to Maccabee and Princeton and the other sites that we discussed last time. But these are sort of dated within a little 5 million year period. So from about 53.5 million years ago to about 48.5 million years old. So relatively recent. So the things that we find here as fossils, we recognize from their modern counterparts. And it tells us, again, a lot about environment and about temperature at the time. And we can see the variety of species. So I have a couple of those Diplomystus and Nidia, which is another fish found there. And then a few other little bits and pieces. They also have some nice catfish that you find in the deeper parts of those lakes. And they're wonderful to behold. The Green River, much like our Eocene sites in BC, is a record sedimentation in a group of intermountain lakes in 3 basins along the present-day Green River in Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah. What's unique to this system and this Lagerstatt is the level of preservation, the level of cyclical movement. So we see the sediments deposited in fine layers, but there's a dark layer, which is the growing season. And then there's this light-hued inorganic layer, which was the dry season. And when you add these two together, we call them a varve. And each represents 1 year. So we can pick apart the sediments of the Green River Formation in a continuous record of about 6 million years. So 5-6 million years, but we can pick those layers apart in little teeny 0.18 millimeter increments and see time passing, which is quite remarkable. So the sedimentary layers were formed in a large area named for the Green River. So it was a tributary of the Colorado River, and the 3 separate basins lie around Uinta Mountain, so northeast and south of northeastern Utah. With the benefit of that fine preservation, we see the fossil fish in the Nidiac, that kind of herring-like fish back from the Eocene. And we find the catfish in the deeper layers, but we also find sexy things like crocodiles and stingrays. It would be well worth Googling the Green River Formation and looking up the stingrays. So Haliobatus and Astrotrigon. So they're really, really amazing, like surreal levels of preservation. We've found some birds, some bats, and even a snake. So it's a mix of reptiles and birds and fish, and one little armadillo-like mammal that found their way into the lake and then passed away, settled down to the sediments on the bottom of those lake bed settings, and then it overfilled with some silt and some mud and some various minerals, and it turned them into fossils. So it is a wonderful, wonderful place to explore. And if you have an opportunity to collect there post-COVID, I highly, highly recommend it. We, of course, see all the plant fossils and we see insects, but the sexy, sexy vertebrates that come out of here are really what are most stunning to me, and I think will be most stunning to you. If you do find your way to the Green River Formation, then you'll be in good company. I recommend bringing some very fine chisels. This is sort of like splitting plates. So it's a fine matrix. There's many outcrops where you can sort of pay to play, and you can go and collect and do guided tours. It's hot country and dusty country, so you're going to want to have a hat and some water and something to keep you with a bit of shade. And you'll be in good company for the first discoveries there. So the very first documented record of an invertebrate fossil coming from the Green River dates back to early missionaries and explorers from around 1845. And then the geologist Dr. John Evans came on board, and he found the first fossil fish, which he described as Culpia humilis, which is ironic. It should have been mea culpa. It was later renamed Nidia, and he collected in the beds around 1856. You may know Edward Drinker Cope, and he collected extensively in this area and produced many publications on the fossil fish from about 1870 onwards. And then from there, it's just been a series of who's who in the zoo studying these wonderful fauna and publishing around the world. So you're welcome to Google it. I'll do up a little post up on them so that you can see some of the fossils. Certainly you will recognize the fossil fish from here. They're sort of diagnostic to the area. And I do hope you get to travel there. And I'll talk to you very soon. Thanks for listening.